What's up there, YouTube? Um, I'm a 15-year veteran of the automotive repair industry. I've worked for a few different dealerships. Um, I've worked for Ford, I've worked for General Motors, I've worked for Kia, and I've worked for Volkswagen. I've also worked for a few different independent shops and some national chains like Firestone. I've also owned my own shop and also done a lot of repair work right here in the driveway of the house. And something that comes up often as a technician is, what kind of oil should I use? Well, there's a lot of different opinions on that. A lot of different people have done things that worked. I've early on in my career heard these old timers say, every 3,000 miles I just take the filter off and put a new filter on and put a quart of oil in it, keep on going. Driving an old Chevrolet with a 350 in it, and they have 300,000 miles on that truck, and supposedly that's what they've done, all 300,000 of those miles. They pull trailers, they drive it to the grocery store, they do whatever, and have never had any problems with that motor. So I say, well, okay, I'm not going to subscribe to that. I'm going to keep changing my oil every 3,000 miles. That's right, 3,000 miles. And then I have some folks say, well, that's just excessive. There's a radio talk show called Click and Clack, and someone told me one time, Click and Clack says if you change your oil every 3,000 miles, that's excessive. So be it, I change mine excessively. I don't care, that's what I do. Truth be known, I probably go a little bit over 3,000 miles. I make my sticker for 3,000 miles. And I do get the oil change sticker right off the shelf. Let me just a second, I'll show you. This roll happens to be Advanced Auto Parts. They gave me a whole roll years ago. When I lived in a different part of town, I was pretty loyal to an Advanced Auto Parts. It was right around the corner from my house. And I got a whole roll of these stickers. And the roll was about this big. Now here it is this big. That's probably 10 to 15 years ago. So this is what I use just to remind me to put it in the, I use O'Reilly's now, but I'm not going to throw those away. I'm going to keep using them. I make my sticker for 3,000 miles. What I tend to do is when the car, the van, or the pickup actually hits 3,000 miles, I start thinking about changing the oil. For example, this truck, the oil change was due at the oil change in the truck was due at 166,000 and some change. As yesterday, I changed the oil in the pickup at 167,500 and some change. So I went 1,500 miles over. So I actually went 4,500 miles on an oil change. That tends to be the norm for me. Somewhere between 3,500 and 4,500 miles is where it gets changed. I make my sticker for 3,000. If I have time to do it at 3,000, I do it at 3,000. This brings up, when should I change my oil? There's a lot of different people say a lot of different things. I'm going to tell you, my opinion is, if you change your oil at 3,000 miles, you might not have gotten your money's worth out of that oil and filter. But you didn't hurt your car doing it either. Excessive or no, you didn't hurt it. You went the extra mile to take care of it. I'm going to tell you, I know a fella who swears by full synthetic oil and changes his oil every 10,000 miles, has ever since I can remember. 10,000 mile oil change intervals, doesn't care what the OE says. And he's driving a 2009 Nissan Altima with a 3.5 V6 and has in excess of 200,000 miles on that car, and I'm helped to maintain that car. Now he takes it to Walmart for the oil changes, full synthetic oil. I'm not 100% sure what brand, but using the Walmart filter, full synthetic oil, 10,000 mile oil change intervals, has never had an oil leak one on that car. I've done things like I've replaced some axle seals in it. I've done a tune-up on it, put a battery in it, You know, any little repair stuff that needs to be done in the car, I do the work right here at the house or at his house in his garage. And there's not an oil leak one on that car. And that motor still runs tight. I mean, it still has all the pep that it did the day he bought it. He bought it brand spanking new from Nissan. He's the only owner. In excess of 200,000 miles and does 10,000 mile oil change intervals with a Walmart SuperTech filter and full synthetic oil, whatever they have at Walmart that they put into it, and a full synthetic. He probably has a brand that he likes or prefers. I don't know. Never really talked to him about it too much because, you know, he has his opinion, I have mine. But my opinion there is it works for him. I saw a YouTube video last night. I've been kind of researching oil filters. A guy said he was loyal to Fram forever. Will never buy a Fram again. He took them apart and saw what a piece of junk it was. Did it ever let you down? Then who cares? You know, it may be a cheap piece of junk. There may be a filter out there built better than that Fram filter. Did the Fram filter ever let you down? I've used Fram filters. I'm not loyal to them. I've bought them. If I had to say I was loyal to any kind of filter, the filter I use most, because I drive Fords, they sell them at O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, about any parts store. I buy Motorcraft oil filters. They run about $3. They're $1 more than the house brand filter. It makes me feel good to put the Ford logo in my Ford. And said, am I loyal to it? Probably not. You know, right here, this is the box. The filter went on the truck yesterday. NAPA Gold. NAPA Gold? Wait just a second. Let me back up a second. November, I suffered a back injury and I had to give up my career as a motor technician. As I healed, I thought, what am I going to do? I know I'll start a lawn care business. You say, oh, that's hard work too. Trust me, being an automotive technician puts your body in awkward positions. Doing lawn care does not. You're pretty much natural positions. The human body's designed to work, not designed to sit behind a desk. So as long as I can keep bend with my knees, not with my back, stuff like that, I don't have a problem. Working on cars, I can do it occasionally, every once in a while, here or there. But doing it full time, I just have a hard time doing. And the bird's loud. He wants to chime in on the video. So I took a part-time job at O'Reilly's. So how'd you get up with a NAPA filter? Well, long story. My O'Reilly's didn't have some axles for a GMC truck I was going to put in one night. NAPA did, so we went to NAPA. They sold us the wrong axles. We got there 5 minutes before they were supposed to close, and they wouldn't let us in the door. So the next day we come back and we complained to the store manager, and he gave me a free oil change. 6 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic, and the truck was what was due, so that's what I got it for, 1030 weight, and an NAPA Gold filter. So that's what I put in the truck. That being said, they run specials at O'Reilly's all the time. Right now, for $23.99, you can get Mobil Super Synthetic Oil, 5 quarts of Mobil Super Synthetic Oil, and a MicroGuard, that's our house brand filter, for $23.99. An extra $2 you can up it to a Wix. Maybe I would pay the extra $2 and get a Wix filter. If you get on YouTube and look and see oil filters and cutaways of oil filters, you'll see the Wix filter is built better than the Motorcraft filter. It's probably the best filter I've seen on there, or one of the best, arguably. One of the best built filters. And the Motorcraft filters are damn good filters too, from looking at for the cutaways. MicroGuard filters, Fram's is the cheapest. They're the crappiest filter out there from what I've seen. That being said, if Fram was the one that was on special with the oil, I'd run a Fram filter. I've run Fram filters before. Had a guy come up, used to have an old 302 in his truck, bought a Toyota Tundra with a 4.7, didn't need these Fram filters that fit that 302 anymore. Asked me if I wanted them. He had a whole case full of them. My old truck's got a 302 in it. I said, hell yeah, hook me up. So for a long time, I ran Fram. Just Fram, Tough Guard filters, the ones with the little black grip on the end. Orange filter with a black grip on the end. Ran that filter for a couple of years till I ran out of it. Never had an ounce of trouble. This old truck, I've had this truck, it had 48,000 miles on it when I bought it. It's got 175,000 miles on it now. Doesn't use a drop of oil. Doesn't leak oil. You know, in an oil change period, it may use a half quart. Always has since the day I had it. They say that's pretty normal. I guess, I don't know. It runs fine, no smoke coming out the tailpipe or nothing. I don't add any to it. I just did 3,000 miles or so, I changed the oil. So that brings up what kind of oil should you use. Well, here's the thing. I pulled out the owner's manual to my 2002 E150, which has 189,000 miles on it now. And I'll be changing the oil here in the next day or two to get it. And this is what I did. I went in the back, looked up engine oil. Gave me this page. Here's what it says. SAE 5W20 engine oil is recommended. Only use oil certified for gasoline engines by the American Petroleum Institute. Use Motorcraft or an equivalent oil meeting Ford specification WSS-M2C153-H. SAE 5W20 oil provides optimal fuel economy and durability performance, meeting all requirements for your vehicle's engine. There's another part in here that says to use synthetic blend oil. Well, when I bought the van had 130,000 miles on it. Looking in, I bought it from a one owner. I'm the second owner. The guy had always taken it to, you know, like a little Firestone kind of a shop, and they'd always put bulk oil, 5W30 weight oil in it. Since about the third or fourth, his first few oil changes were free at the Ford dealer there in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and they used 520 weight, I'm sure, whatever they had there in 2002. Put in it. It's got a 4.6 liter V8, the 2 valve, single overhead cam. But since then it had 530 weight. When I bought it, I thought, I'm going to be good. I'm going to buy 520 weight oil. I went over here to my local O'Reilly's, because that's the store I like to use. Now I actually work there, but at the time I just went over there. And they actually had Valvoline SynPower 5W20 weight on sale. I bought 6 quarts. The owner's manual says 6 quarts. And I thought, I still think synthetic blend's what Ford recommends. It's okay to use synthetic blend, or I will go to a full synthetic. Or I'll show you another option I got here in just a second. But they had the SynPower on sale for a pretty good price, I thought, so I bought 6 quarts of Valvoline SynPower. Full synthetic, 520. And then we proceeded. I did tune up. We drove the car. Little problems that I noticed. I didn't really check the oil before we left our trip. I just changed the oil again, and I had some more of that SynPower, so I used that. We drove from Memphis, Tennessee to Los Angeles, California. When I got there, the van was 3 quarts low on oil. I said, I'm wondering if my dumb butt just didn't put enough oil in it, right? Maybe I just didn't put enough oil in it. Thought I checked it. Thought it was right. I thought I put 6 quarts in it. So we went down to the auto parts store there in LA, and I bought some oil, 520 weight, Valvoline SynPower. Paid full price for it, but that's what was in it. I thought I'd put that in there just to be sure. And then we drove from Los Angeles, from La Habra, Orange County, south side of Los Angeles, up to Buellton, which is right on the coast, and it's north of Los Angeles. Good little drive up through the mountains. Checked the oil in the van when we got there. Damned if it wasn't a quart low. This van's using oil. Well, I decided to go ahead. I was at my wife's grandparents' house to go ahead and change the oil. Well, I was looking at the records in the book and saw 530 weight. I better switch back to 530 weight. I'm going to do that if it's using oil, a little bit heavier oil. After all, I do have to get this piece back to Memphis, and I'm thinking, damn, I'm going to have to buy a 4.6 liter and drop a new engine in this van. But I'm going to go ahead and put 530 weight in it and see what happens. Put 530 weight in it. The van seemed to have more power. Not only that, it quit using oil. Its whole life it's had 530 weight, so I decided to keep 530 weight. I got on Mitchell Pro Demand when I got home, and guess what it says? 530 weight is an alternate approved oil for that van for 2002. Now, since then, Ford has come out with a technical service bulletin saying everything should have 520. there's a technical service bulletin attached to this 1994 F-150 with a pushrod 302 saying to switch to 530. It called for 1030 when it's new. It says it wants 520 synthetic blend. TSB from Ford. Hell no, I ain't doing that. We'll keep running 1030. This thing's had 1030 in its whole life. That's what it's going to have till it's dead. If I get a new engine for it, I'll put 1030 in it too. Just because that's what the 302 is designed around. So that's what I'll use. That's how I choose my, now what brand of oil. Growing up, I was loyal to Valvoline. The reason being, my first truck I bought from my dad, it was a 1969 Chevrolet CST-10 half-ton pickup. 350 engine, turbo 350 transmission. Thing always used oil since the day I got it. My dad had started, he bought it used. It was a few years old when he bought it. Back in the 70s or something, I don't know when. But the guy he bought it from had always used Valvoline. He used Valvoline. When it started using a little oil, he switched to Valvoline 1040. Synthetics were around, like Amsoil, stuff like that. I guess Mobile One was out back then, but it wasn't just readily available. I remember going into the parts store back then, you had like a little 4x12 room, little area with a dirty floor, a plywood cabinet, had an ad machine with a cash register underneath it down at one end and a bunch of books on the other, not a computer in the building. You walk in, spit on the floor, no one would notice. It's just dusty. They didn't have all that crap out front. You walk up to the counter, said, yeah, I need some Valvoline oil for a Chevy 350 at 1040 weight. And it's got the cartridge filter, not the metal canister, all in-house filter. It's got a big metal canister on it that you take off. It's got a paper filter inside. I need that paper filter. Guy didn't ask you what year model it was, didn't ask you what engine. You already told him, Chevy 350, paper filter, 5 quarts, 1040 Valvoline. He says, all right, no problem. Walks back in the back, comes back out with your stuff. Piece of cake. No problem. Need points for it. Walk in, I need points for Chevy 350. All right, walk back, get you your points, give them to you. Need a Rochester 4-barrel for Chevy 350. Is it computer controlled? No, it's a 69 model. All right, walk in the back, bring them back out. I need plugs for Chevy 350. All right, walk in the back, bring them back out to you, sell you the plugs. No computer, no looking it up, all that crap. I was loyal to Valvoline. Well, years later, I'm in the Marine Corps, and I'm visiting, and my dad's bought a 96 Cadillac. Bought it used. The original owners always used Quaker State, so he was using Quaker State. He said, well, you never change oil. Whatever you start with, you finish with. I have since gotten away from that too, but I was loyal to Valvoline. That changed that. Well, you start with what you finish what you started with. Well, one day, I got an opportunity to go down here to President's Island in Memphis where they bottle oil and ship it out all over the place. And lo and behold, here comes the Valvoline bottles. They're squirting oil in them. Then here comes the Quaker State bottle squirting oil in them. Here comes the Coastal and AutoZone and O'Reilly's brand. All this crap all comes, not the O'Reilly's brand. They're bottled by Omni. But a whole bunch of different. The only difference is the additive packages they put in. Well, it's all the same damn oil. You are finishing with what you'll start with. Who cares? You know, so I started whatever's on sale where I can get a good deal on. That brings us to what we got right here. I run 530 in the van now. It's a synthetic blend, right? Well, they had this here, the next gen 530 high mileage motor oil. I'm presuming it doesn't say synthetic or synthetic blend, but 5 quarts I got for $5. But notice it has to be synthetic blend. So what do I got here? Valvoline SynPower. I got 2 quarts of it left over from years ago. So 530 weight SynPower. I'm gonna put 2 quarts in there of the SynPower and then the rest with the next gen. Now I've got a synthetic blend. Is that accurate? I don't know. I've done it many a times. It's never hurt anything, so I don't care. Say what you want. I've bought this right here, Parts Plus, Union Auto Parts. I got a notice when I was working in a shop. They had this stuff on sale for $1.99 a quart. I went down and bought every case that I could. 530 semi-synthetic. It's a synthetic blend. Bought as much of it as I could. Here's the thing. What you want to look for. The owner's manual said API approved oil. Find that starburst right there. As long as it has that, it's the right weight. It's a semi-synthetic oil. I saw a guy with AMSOIL here on YouTube talking about, oh, this kind of oil, that kind of, I don't even remember all the crap he was saying. So what kind of stock of oil it is. I don't give a crap about all that. The American Petroleum Institute says this will work in my car. Ford Motor Company says this will work in my car. Hell, I'm going to put this in my car. I don't care. It works. I've got 189,000 miles on my van, 175,000 miles on my truck. Neither one of them get in any trouble. If either one of them failed today, you can't say it's because of the oil. Hell, that thing's got tons of miles on it. Or when I worked for Firestone, I don't care. It could be a BMW Z4, Mercedes S550, a freaking Porsche 911 roll through the door, Cadillac Escalade, Cadillac DeVille with North Star, to this old Ford pickup truck, to my van, to a Dodge pickup truck, to a Buick Century, to you name it. It rolled through the door looking for that $16.99 oil change. Jack, we were pumping that Kendall bulk 530 weight conventional oil and everything, and never ever did I have one come back. We had customers who were loyal. They came back every oil change, every 3,000 miles, 3 to 5,000 miles. They were in our shop changing their oil with that bulk crap that we bought for cheap, and they had 300,000 miles in their car. No problems. Engine's still running. It's a factory engine. You tell me. I don't know. My experience was I had 2000 Ford Windstar 3.8 liter V6. We struggled to make ends meet. And I got where, man, I found Walmart SuperTech. So I decided I'm going to run the SuperTech oil. Man, I can do an oil change. SuperTech filter, SuperTech oil, I can do it all for under $13, $12, $13, $14. I'll run that crap. I did. I learned a lesson. My motor started sludging up. So I didn't run a motor flush, something like that. I just started changing the oil back with a good name brand oil. Pennzoil, Valvoline, any good name brand oil, and it fixed that. Or I learned this lesson. If push come to shove and you need something like that, guess what you can do? There's a company called Primico. They own BG, motor oil additive. Use BG motor oil additive, or if I don't have this available to me, I don't have a bottle right there, I'll show you. I buy Rizlon. Rizlon, good stuff too. Lucas, might run Lucas. People say, oh, we've done tests on this and tests on that. But here's the test that I've done. I've run it in my car and it worked. It's a test I've done. But you tell me. My viewpoint is, as long as it meets or exceeds the OE requirements for my car, and it's the right weight, I'm going to run it. As far as the filter goes, as long as it meets or exceeds the filter requirements the manufacturer set forth for my car, I'm going to run it. All you Fram haters out there, Fram meets or exceeds your manufacturer's recommendation, specifications for your car. It may not be as good as the OE filter. It might be filters out there better, built better, whatever. But if that's what's available to me, I'm going to run it. I don't care. I've run them, never had a problem. I've run the good filters, never had a problem. I've run all sorts of kind of filters, never had a problem. Run all sorts of kinds of oils, never with a problem except for the SuperTech from Walmart. And then as long as I run a good additive to it, because that's the problem, it has no additive package in that oil to protect it from sludge and deposit buildup. So you add an additive to it to protect it from sludge and deposit buildup. And guess what? You will be okay. With that, I see some squirrels out. I think I'm going to go get my pellet rifle and maybe see about shooting a squirrel or two. So that's my thought on motor oil. You have your own thoughts. Feel free to post them. Better than that, feel free to make your own video showing what you like. I don't know, man. To each his own. They've all been out there for a long, long time. Run whatever works for you. If it works for you, who cares what anybody else says? You've been running Fram filters and JoJo's motor oil for 100 years and never have had a problem. You got 500 million miles on your car and never have had a problem. It works. Who gives a crap what everybody else thinks it says? Buy what works for you. And until next time.